Hello, everyone. It's Chris. It's Friday. I am teaching a class at Georgetown on Fridays. So I'm at Georgetown, um, which has been good so far. The class, I'm eating a Kit Kat bar. The class is campaign journalism. Um, this is the second week. We'll see how it goes. I hope everyone's well. This is 4 days before the debate, which I'm psyched about. I think it's going to be huge, very important debate. So we'll talk some about that. If you have not subscribed to this channel, what are you waiting for? Like, now's the time. No time like the present. Whatever, you know all those sayings. So subscribe. If you want to check out Substack, you should. That's where hold on, my wife is texting me. Hold on, please hold. Okay, if you want to check out Substack, please do. I write there every day. It's a newsletter. You can get it for free, or you can pay. I hope you pay. If you don't, that's fine too. I'm happy to have you in any way, shape, or form I can. But here we are. My wife is asking me a question. What was your favorite restaurant in college? Okay. I think I'm done. Oh gosh, people say don't talk with your mouth full. Sorry. So we're here. Let's do this. If you have questions, ask them. All that I ask is that you subscribe to this channel and tell people about this channel. That's all I ask. We've had a great week in terms of growth. Let me take my phone out of my pocket. We've had a great week in terms of growth. Got to keep growing. But it's been great so far. So I'm thrilled. We're going to keep growing here. Keep growing on Substack, chrislizzo.substack.com. Check it out. Again, like I said, it's free. You can also, if you need to, or if you want to, pay for it. So let's see. All right, let's get to questions. And by the way, hold on. Let me see if I can make this work. Top chat. Sorry, I'm scrolling, people. Okay, no, that's not working. I'm on my laptop, and I'm usually on my regular computer, so I'm having trouble scrolling. I'm on my monitor, so I'm having trouble scrolling through. Let's see. You know what? I'm going to go from the bottom. I'm trying to organize this. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Braden Shelton, thank you for your donation. As I always say to people, if you want to donate to me, I'm happy to take it. I'm thrilled to take. This is like Trumpian. I'm thrilled to take it. So if you do, please, again, it goes directly to me, like in the journalism I'm doing. So also the food I'm eating. So if you want to, I would love to have you. But you don't have to. But I do say if you donate, you definitely get your question answered. It jumps to the top of the pile. Okay. Braden Shelton, thank you for the donation. Shapiro and Fetterman destroyed MAGA candidates in 2022. Has this been forgotten? Should this give an edge to Dems in PA? Trump barely won it in 2016 by 40,000. You're right. Fetterman and especially Shapiro, but Fetterman too, both won statewide in Pennsylvania in 2022. I don't think that should be forgotten by any means. I think it's really important, but I don't know if it's definitive, because I just think that the reality of the situation is that there are presidential race voters who only vote in presidential races. It's weird, but there's just a lot of people who only vote in the presidential race. And I think a lot of those people are going to be for Donald Trump. So, I think it's important to note. I think it should help you feel good if you're a Democrat, but I just look at the polling, and the polling suggests that it's going to be super, 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 super close. So that's sort of what I'm sticking to, because I think that the polling's got it right this time. I know a lot of people say the polling's wrong. I actually think the polling's right in Pennsylvania. I think it's gonna be really close. Okay. I think I've gotten to the top. let me just scroll through. Okay. Maxwell Feiner, how do you think artificial intelligence will affect politics and government over the next decade? Man, I wish I knew the answer to that question. It's a great question. And I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of press releases and even some speeches, first drafts of speeches, will be AI. It'll be like, write a speech for a Democratic politician on climate or whatever, and maybe they'll use that. Or so some of these more low-level functions will definitely go to AI. I don't know if it will be like full-time, all the time, all AI. It's the same thing I think about journalism. Some of these kind of like spot stories, like this happened, AI will write. I don't think there's any question about that. Can AI replace an analyst? Man, I hope not. I'm in deep trouble. So, I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to have profound impacts all across everything. I just signed up to do, I decided I wanted to start a TikTok. So if you want to follow me on TikTok, it's official Chris Cillizza on TikTok. So I just decided, I'm going to get into it. I was talking to a guy, who's a subscriber to the newsletter. By the way, if you subscribe to my newsletter, if you pay to subscribe, you get a 30-minute one-on-one Zoom with me. I was going to say for free, but it's not free. It's $6 a month or $60 a year. But I was talking to a guy and he was like, check out this website. It will take content you've already made, like for your YouTube site, and chunk it up into like 30-second things in a vertical format that you can then put on TikTok and YouTube Shorts. And I was like, oh my God. And it's all AI generated. And it's great. So I just think it's doing a lot of things and will continue to do a lot of things, some of which I'm totally not aware of, and that I would love to be made aware of. So let's see. I am still having issues with my dumb chat thing. Sorry, folks. This is super annoying. I'm trying to find the scroll bar that allows me to go to the top, and it is not working. Okay, let me just continue to answer questions that I have while I try to figure this out. If you know how to scroll in the live chat on a Mac, please tell me, because I cannot get it to work. Okay, this is Angel Leap. Thank you for the donation. As always, if you donate, you jump to the front of the line. My prediction, Trump flips PA and Georgia and wins 270 electoral votes. Absolutely. I would say North Carolina seems to me the state that's going to stay Trump, although I know it's more competitive than it has been. I think Georgia, the two most important states, I would say, are Pennsylvania first. I think that's the most important state for both of them, and then Georgia. What would I put after that? Probably Michigan, just because it's bigger than Wisconsin. But yeah, I think that's oh my gosh, okay, hold on. Who is this? Who is the best person ever? Wait, hold. Okay, James Dorn, you have single-handedly saved me. I owe you big time, because James said hold 2 fingers on the trackpad and then naturally pull up or down to move it in the chat, and that works. You, sir, rock. Thank you. Okay, let's keep rolling. Now I feel better, because the problem was I couldn't scroll up or down, so I could only see a certain number. All right. Let's see. This is Dave Collier. Dave, thank you for the donation. Nate Silver's model is assuming that Trump will beat his polling by between 2 and 4%. How safe is that assumption? Okay, great question. So I've looked at this. This is what I look like without glasses. My wife says I look like a naked mole rat. I don't know. Better with glasses. Okay. In 2016, the last polling averages had Hillary Clinton up 4 points on Donald Trump. She won the popular vote by 2 points, and obviously you know this, she lost the Electoral College and Trump won. In 2020, the last polling averages, this is all 538 polling, so at least I'm comparing apples to apples. The last 538 polling average had Biden up 8 points. He won the popular vote by 4 points, and obviously he won the election, which suggests to me that polling, at least in the 2 times he's run for president, underestimates Donald Trump's overall appeal. That there are people who are not willing to say they're for him, but who are in fact for him. So I think that's, I'm not saying past is definitely prologue, but I don't think we could ignore it. I would say that Trump is likely, based on history, to overperform wherever he is in national polling. I will add, there is probably a 3 to 4 point bias for Republicans. And what I mean by that is Kamala Harris is going to have to win the popular vote by at least 3% and maybe 4% to ensure that she wins the Electoral College. The Electoral College just tilts towards Republicans and has for about the last 20 years, though I think it's more tilted now than ever before. So she's going to have to win by 3 or so. So if you see polling that has her up 5, if we assume Trump overperformance by about 2 points, that's going to be right on the edge of what she needs to do to win. I hope that makes sense. All right, I'm going to keep going here. As always, if you donate, you get your question asked. And the notorious CRG did donate, and you get your question. Hey, Chris, you said before that you are a little more centrist, if not right-leaning. Have you decided or expressed who you're voting for? So, yes, this actually gives me a chance to talk about this. So last week in the live chat, somebody said, who are you voting for? And I said, I haven't made my mind up. And then someone else was like, you haven't made your mind up? And I was like, no. All right, so that's dumb. What I try to do in this chat, just so you know, is I don't scroll through a bunch of questions. I just try to go down the line. Unless you donate, then I take your question. But I just go down the line and click them. I don't read them beforehand or anything like that. So the questions all come a little bit out of the blue for me, which I like because you get my honest take on what I think. I'm not skipping questions. I'm not avoiding questions. I'm not like pre-thinking what I should answer. I'm trying to get the question and answer it as honestly as I can. That question obviously took me by surprise. The right answer to that question is I'm not going to talk about who I'm voting for a lot of reasons. One, because I think it's private. Two, because I think some people would say that who I was voting for would impact my analysis, which I don't think it does. But I'm just not going to talk about it. But thank you for the question, and thanks for the chance to clarify. My biggest problem, I think, in life is I'm too flippant sometimes. I'm too flip. I just kind of like, as opposed to like sitting and thinking with stuff, and it comes back to bite me sometimes. It just does. Ahmed Hindawi. Thank you for the donation. Not even a question. Thank you for the donation. Very much appreciated. David Osberg. Thank you for the donation. His question. Chris, explain the voter math in Florida where the abortion amendment passes, but Trump wins. That many ticket splitters doesn't seem plausible. That is a good point. I do think the abortion amendment is set to win. And that would, Trump has said he's going to vote no on it, but that would obviously allow some abortions in the state. And I don't totally know that. I guess there are people who just separate that out because I do think Donald Trump's going to win Florida. I don't think he's going to win by 20 like Ron DeSantis did, but I do think he's going to win. So I guess there are enough people who sort of separate out their views on abortion from their views on Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. But it's a really good question. And let me kind of dig into it a little more. I don't want to, again, I just said my biggest problem is that I'm too flip sometimes. So I'm going to try not to be flip, and I'm going to try to dig into it a little more and go from there. I hope that makes sense, but good, really thoughtful question. Okay. Let's see where we are. Let me get out of this. All right. Okay. Nostalgic American. Why do you think we'll have a winner on election night? In 2020, it took 4 days to name a winner, and the issues with mail-in ballots will persist this time. Some states won't start counting until November 5th. Did I say I expected there to be a winner on election night? The way that I've typically answered that question is like I would put the over-under at like 5.5 days, and I'd probably take the over because I think we're going to have a lot of really, really close races. Remember, in 2020, Arizona was like 12,000 votes. Georgia was 11,000 votes. Wisconsin was 20,000 votes. I think it's going to be similarly close in some of those states. And I think it's going to take a long time to count. And I think the people counting will be extremely careful because we know what Donald Trump will say about you. He will sue you. He will talk bad about you publicly. So I think there's going to be a lot of care taken, which I think is a good thing, by the way. So yeah, no, I do not think it will be decided on election night. I think we are looking at, 5, 6 days, depending on how close it is. And I actually don't think that's a terrible thing. Better to be right, to get it right, than to get it first. Solizafan, again, great handle. Should Kamala have taken a meeting with RFK Jr.? I think she hurt herself by ignoring his influence. I don't. I guess it's possible she hurt herself, but I don't see it. I think he is a dwindling stock. I think most of the people who are for him will either not vote, even if he had stayed in the race, would have either voted for him or not voted or voted for Donald Trump. I do not think there were a ton of Kamala Harris potential voters in that voter pool. So I think since Biden got out of the race, I think RFK Jr.'s sort of stock went way, way, way down. Politics Nerd, another great title. Will Liz Cheney's endorsement make a difference? It will not. I guess I would say, this is me being flip. Sorry. I think it is unlikely to make a big difference. I think that if you follow politics at all over the last couple of years, you know that Liz Cheney is one of the biggest anti-Trump voices in the Republican Party. She has said he is a danger to democracy. She has said she would be for anyone who is not him. So the fact that she's for Kamala Harris, I don't think should sort of stun us. Let's see. Sean D, did you watch any college football last weekend? Who is an overrated team this year? I say Oregon is very overrated as usual. So the only game I watched in its entirety was Texas A&M against Notre Dame because all of my in-laws went to Texas A&M, and we are Texas A&M fans. Not a great game for Texas A&M. Defense was good. Offense was bad. Notre Dame didn't look particularly good either, but they won. So, and the other takeaway is my wife really likes Riley Leonard, the quarterback, who was the Duke quarterback, who's now the Notre Dame quarterback, and was really impressed with his post-game interview. Tara Reid, not that Tara Reid. How do you think Kamala will fare in the debate? My guess is we'll be here next week talking about Kamala fumbling the debate. I don't know, is the answer. Look, she's not been on this big a stage before, which honestly very few people have. Though I think it's important to note, I talked about this on TV, humble brag, recently. Donald Trump has been in, this will be his seventh general election presidential debate. Seventh. That's more than anyone in history. So I think there is a level of kind of comfort there for him. And she's never been in a presidential debate before. She's been in a vice presidential debate, but never a presidential debate. So I do think she is going to probably be a little bit more nervous. I think she has more riding on it. I don't think Trump's numbers, look, I've said this before. Trump has a very high ceiling in terms of voter support, like 45%, and a very high floor in terms of voter support and a very low ceiling. He basically moves between 46 and 48% of the vote. He doesn't go to 52 or 51. He doesn't go to 40. So I don't know how his numbers move. I think she has potentially more movement there. I don't think she'll fumble it, though. The notorious CRG. Fair answer, Chris. I think that your subscribers want to know, and I also see people question you professionally if you explicitly choose a side. Yeah. Thank you. By the way, Notorious CRG, thank you for the donation. Very much appreciated. As always, donations are appreciated, but not necessary. If you do donate, you will get your question read. Yeah, I've been open about this. So I never have voted before in a presidential election ever. This will be the first time that I vote. So this is all kind of new to me. I'm kind of navigating it as I go. But yeah, I think the right thing is to keep it to myself. I know people will want to know, but I think the right thing is to sort of keep it to myself. And again, the issue would be if people could just know and then move on, that would be one thing, but people would use it to sort of hold it over me and say, see, I knew that you were for Trump, or see, I knew you were for Harris. And I hate that. I don't think that's what it means, but I think people would think that. Pool Boy Dave. If Kamala loses the election, it will be due to decisions she made, not choosing Shapiro, ignoring white working class, ignoring RFK Jr. Would you agree? Again, I'm skeptical on the ignoring RFK Jr. one, but yes, on the Shapiro thing. Look, I obviously was pretty open about the fact that I thought and still think Josh Shapiro made the most sense because Pennsylvania is the most important state. If you have a popular Democratic governor of that state, why not put him on the ticket? Because I don't think the VP makes a huge difference nationally, certainly. So it's like, if you put him on the ticket and it helps you in one place that you desperately need, I think I would do that. So yes, there will be a ton of second guessing if she loses, particularly if she loses Pennsylvania. And again, if she loses Pennsylvania, she's almost certainly going to lose the election. I don't know if she's ignoring white working class voters. I haven't seen any evidence of that. Let me take a minute to say, if you are here for the first time, welcome. make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. Make sure you check out all my other videos on this channel. Make sure you tell people that I do this every Friday. I also make a daily video Monday through Thursday on my channel. We are almost at 40,000 subscribers, which is amazing. Also, head over to chrissaliza.substack.com. A lot of free content over there. I write every single day. If you want to become a paid subscriber to get all of my content, awesome. Would love to have you. It's $6 a month. I'm also thinking about rolling out a paid subscription for YouTube, which I didn't know you could do, but I've looked into a little bit. Would people be interested in that? I wouldn't charge a ton, but I wonder if people would be interested in that if I made a couple videos here or there that were just for paid subscribers. So let me know. I mean, I'm sort of thinking about it. Okay, let's see. James Dorn, thank you for the donation, James. Could you list a few positive values for both candidates that could swing the election for undecided voters? Well, okay. I don't think positive values are going to swing this election for undecided voters. Donald Trump has a problem. And the problem is this. He's universally known by the electorate and broadly disliked. 34% of people view him favorably. 59% of people view him unfavorably. What does that mean from a political sort of strategy standpoint? It means that Donald Trump can't win by going positive. He's not going to raise his numbers from here to here. The only thing he can do is take Harris's favorable numbers, which are not amazing, but they're better than his, and bring them down. To bring them down to this level, so it's a choice between likes. That's what he's going to do. You are going to see very few positive ads, positive messages. I don't think between now and the election, if you live in a swing state, it's going to be all negative. The Trump campaign is going to say and do anything to try to get people to think Kamala Harris is a communist, Marxist, who's going to ruin the nation like she ruined California. Although I was in California recently and it was still standing. But there's not going to be a lot of positive. And I know that bums people out, but I'm just trying to deal with the reality. Thank you for your donation, though. Let's see. The Real Slim Shady 3000. Favorite summer movie you saw? Mine was Deadpool and Wolverine. I didn't see one movie this summer. Chris Murphy, 15. In 2016, Hillary Clinton's campaign had internal power struggles. Do you think Kamala's campaign has similar internal chemistry issues? Sort of too early to say, I think, Chris. Look, they did take sort of the Biden infrastructure and then glom on the Harris infrastructure and then add a few Obama people like David Plouffe and Stephanie Cutter. So, like, there's a lot of egos in there. You haven't heard that much negative. I will note, though, that, one of the knocks on Kamala Harris when she ran for the Senate, when she was in the Senate, and when she ran for president was she had a staffing issue. Tons and tons of staffers left. This was true when she was vice president, too. Lots of staffers left. During the 2020 campaign, most people laid the blame for the staffing issues, not on Kamala Harris, but on her sister Maya Harris, who was like the campaign chairwoman. So that's been an issue in the past, but I have not heard it. Again, we're like 5 weeks in, so maybe we wouldn't hear it yet, and things have been going great for them. But that has been an issue in the past, so at least sort of put a pin in that. Let's see. Anubov C. Isn't this the most favorable political climate for the non-White House party in modern times? Inflation, proxy wars, and border crisis. Yet the White House party still leads in the polls. Why? Yes, I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. This is an election that on paper Republicans should win. Economy and immigration are the two big issues. People think Republicans are more trustworthy on both of them. Okay. You have an unpopular sitting incumbent president, and his vice president is the Democratic nominee. You have large numbers of people who think the country is headed off in the wrong direction. All of those things should add up to a Republican win. So why, which is your question? Because Donald Trump is the Republican nominee, because he is a uniquely weak nominee. There are built-in problems with him that would not come with any other candidate. If Nikki Haley was the Republican nominee right now, she'd be ahead by 5 points, at least. If Ron DeSantis was the nominee, even Ron DeSantis, even old pudding figures, he'd probably be ahead. I think the reason that the race is where the race is because Donald Trump is Donald Trump. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Justin Ziegler. Justin, thank you. Incredibly generous of you. I very much appreciate it. And as always, folks, donations appreciated, but not necessary. Justin asks, should we assume a +1 or 2 point swing to Democrats in polls, given how since Roe v. Wade, Democrats have exceeded the polls? Two recent examples that come to mind is Jacksonville mayoral elections and the Bama House special election. Yes. So That's another thing that you have to, great question. That's another thing you have to think about when you're thinking about these models. So I already addressed it, folks, if you missed it earlier in this live stream, I addressed the fact that history suggests that national polling undersells Donald Trump's support. But yes, since Roe v. Wade, there is no question that pollsters have struggled. Roe v. Wade was overturned. Pollsters have struggled to measure the enthusiasm among the Democratic base to vote. So do those two things counteract each other? Does the sort of Donald Trump 2-point hidden vote and the abortion energy to oppose what happened with Roe v. Wade, did those cancel? I don't know. But it's a really, really good question, because you're right. The story of the 2022 midterms was abortion and the power of it to help mitigate Democratic losses. 2023, Democrats won across the board in special elections and important races. And 2024, same has been true. So I think we absolutely have to consider that. Great question. Let's see. Robert, New York. Why is Kamala not doing more interviews? Simple. She doesn't think she needs to. They think they're winning. They don't see any benefit from doing an interview. They did one with CNN, my friend Dana Bash, to check the box. I haven't heard her talk about putting another one on the board anytime soon. I wouldn't anticipate them doing a whole lot more. I thought she was okay in that interview. I didn't think she was great. So it's not like there's, everyone who went into that wondering about whether she'd do well. I don't think your questions have been answered, but I don't think that they will do a whole bunch more. They may do a few more, but I don't think they're going to do a lot more, because they don't think they need it, and they don't love the format, and don't think she does super well in it. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through. Notorious CRG, I love it. Rookie of the year, Caitlyn Clark or Angel Reese? Brother want to know. Give me Caitlyn Clark. I think she's running away with it. I know Angel Reese is, set like this record for double doubles, but the Indiana Fever are making the playoffs. They were terrible last year, and they had Aaliyah Boston. So I think Clark has made a difference, and I think she's sort of trended upward. She started off pretty rough, but since she's gotten, I think, significantly better. She had triple-double the other night. So give me Caitlyn Clark. Brendan Fleming, thank you for the donation. Thanks for everything, Chris. I should be thanking you. Should Democrats be focused on the Florida Senate seat? Polls are relatively close, around 3%, and Rick Scott has a fairly low approval. Also, abortion is on the ballot. Really good question. So the issue with Rick Scott in Florida is this. He has unlimited money. He has spent a massive amount of his own money in the past, and he will do so again if he needs to. The argument, and I think in Florida, it's easy to get 46% if you're a Democrat. It's really hard to get 50 plus 1%. Does that make sense? It's like North Carolina. There's going to be a lot of polls that show Kamala Harris at 47. I don't know how many there are going to show her at 49 or 50. That last little bit is really, really hard for a Democrat to win. The argument to focus a little bit more on Florida is Democrats have no offensive opportunities in the Senate. And West Virginia Senate seat's already gone, and it looks like the Montana Senate seat is headed in that direction, which, if everything else held, Republicans would control the Senate. So the question is, are there places that Democrats can play offense where it makes sense to try to put Democrats on the defensive? The problem with Florida in that regard is it's really, really, really expensive, right? I mean, it's $40-50 million no matter what to run a significant TV ad campaign for a couple weeks in that state. That's a big bet on a state that has not shown in recent elections that it's friendly to your side. But I get the reasoning. Fran G. Fran, thank you for the donation. Hola, Chris. I already told 10 friends about your channel. Great job. But I have one more that I would like to tell, but not sure if the limit is 10. Can it be 11? Please advise. You could tell 1,000 people about this channel. You tell your enemies. Tell a guy or a gal you run into on the street. Tell your boss. Tell your intern. There's no limit. Limit cannot be found. All right, hold on. Let me get back to this. Thank you again to James Holmes. Saved my life with this whole thing, with the scrolling. James Dorn, rather. Sorry, I'm looking to see. Okay. Favorite English Premier League team. This is from Keshav Hajarnavis. Easy, Tottenham. I decided to go with Tottenham way back in the Gareth Bale, Harry Kane, Luka Modric days, and I'm still with them. I love Ange. I think it's going to be good. My kids, both my boys, are Liverpool people. It's been a good run for them, but whatever. Let's see. Nils Lindenblad. Why does the media treat Trump like a normal candidate when he's far from it? Is the media afraid of what Trump might do to them if he wins? No. I mean, I don't think they are. I think it's hard to cover Trump. I think this idea that the media is somehow complicit with Trump, it's just hard to cover him. I try to do my best on my Substack. I go through his speeches and point out a lot of the ridiculous and untrue things he says. That's kind of my solution. But it's hard if you have you need to write a news story and, Trump gives a speech. It's hard. What are you going to do? Just publish all the weird stuff he says? I mean, I guess you could, but the way a news story works is you kind of pick the 3 or 4 things that are on the topic and you write about it. So he takes advantage of the way that mainstream media works. I'm not bound by that. I can sort of cover it however I want. I don't have to write a top-down news story about Donald Trump. This is Coke Zero, cherry Coke. Not good for you. So I think it's hard. I think he does take advantage of all that stuff. And that's difficult. But I don't think that people are afraid of him now. Let's see. Oh, hold on. I just want to make sure I'm getting all these questions. Got that. Henrik Israelian. Henrik, thank you for the donation. Who for the World Series? MLB New York Mets fan here. Also, are primaries and special elections a good indicator for Democrats walking into the general election, especially this year? Man, Henrik, I never bet against the Los Angeles Dodgers with all that talent. So give me the Dodgers. Are primaries I do think that if you're a Democrat, the last year and a half has suggested, actually 2 years, all the way back to 2022 rather, has suggested that it is the base, thanks to the abortion ruling, is really, really fired up. And they have overperformed. Democrats have overperformed almost everywhere, including overperforming polls in states all across the country. So if I'm a Democrat, that's what I'm hanging my hat on. A presidential race is different than a special election in an off year, right? Massive turnout. So I don't know if it's applicable, but yes, I think it's very, it's a good point to make. I don't know if it's true. Hold on, I'm scrolling. Let's see. I just want to make sure I go up. Let's see. I already did that. Chris Holliday. The swing states are slightly more Republican than the rest of the nation. If Harris is up by more than 3.5, she wins. If not, she loses. That's exactly right. That is exactly. I hope I was making that point that you made it better. You snooze, you news. I like to think Chris tiptoes into the voting booth and votes for Trump. Well, no comment. Jason Schwab said, this means he's voting for Trump. LOL. It does not. Sutton Jones says, are you serious? I do. I am serious. TTKN says, Trump supporter. Nope, not really. And again, just read all my stuff. Monica Rickert, pay for play. I don't think that's a good look to favor questions with money. Well, I get it. At the same time, man, I'm trying to make a living. The media business is not an easy business. I don't know if you followed developments in the media business, Monica, but it's a tough business. YouTube is a tough thing. I'm building, it's going great, but it's hard. So I have bills just like any other person. So that's why. But thank you for the thought. Jacob Bothan says, miss you on CNN, Chris. Yeah, CNN was great. By the way, I was just on MSNBC. I've been doing more MSNBC. May even show up on CNN. I just signed a deal as a contributor. It's not an exclusive deal, but as a contributor to Scripps News. So if you get Scripps News, do that. I'm on News Nation a lot. So if you get News Nation, check me out there. Sarah H says, I'm late. Good to see you, Chris. Good to see you. I mean, I'm not seeing you, but you know my meaning. Brendan Fleming, thank you for the donation. One more question. Should we look at favorability ratings at all? Harris Walz have a combined positive rating, while Vance Trump is around 10 points unfavorable. Yeah, I don't care about Walz Vance, to be honest. People don't vote for VPs. But I think favorable rating matters a little bit because I think it dictates the kind of race we're going to get. Donald Trump's never going to get more popular. So he has to make Kamala Harris a lot less popular in the next 2 months to win. He has to make her an unsavory or an unsafe choice, a risky choice. So I think they matter in that regard, but do not focus on the favorable ratings of the VPs. It just doesn't matter. Not nationally. It just doesn't matter. Let's see. Dimitri Prince, why would you vote for a man who started January 6th? I can't see any policy worth having someone like that in office. Fair enough. William West. So what do you think will be the biggest topic during the debate? And do the muted mics benefit Trump or Harris? Biggest topic will be the economy, I think, because that's the thing that most people care about, the inflation, jobs, that stuff. Second biggest will probably be immigration. Third biggest will be abortion. Does the muted mics benefit Trump Harris? Well, the Harris campaign was pushing for mics to be unmuted, which makes me think they think muted mics benefit Trump. I sort of agree with that in that Harris has to show an ability to stand up to Trump, to rebut things when he lies. It's harder to do that when your mic is muted, right? He can just go on and on and on, and she can't really get a word in edgewise. Some of that's going to be on the moderation. You know, what do the moderators do? They stop and fact check Trump? Do they give it over to Harris quickly so she can? So a lot of that depends on the moderation, which I will be looking at closely. Let's see. Use News. Chris's time and expertise is worth money, Monica. He's not taking money to boost Boeing or Pfizer. Yes, right. This is, I don't have any sponsors. This is just me. So yeah, thank you for that point. Yeah, man, look, I get it. But the reality of the situation is like, I got to pay my mortgage. I got to put my kids in school. I got to buy groceries. I mean, like, it's just like a regular job. So thank you, anyone who does donate. If you can't, I totally understand it. I will try to get to as many questions as I can. I feel like I mostly answer all the questions that are asked in these things anyway. Sam, thank you for your donation. Can you talk about internal polling? Is it different from regular polling? When campaigns talk about their internal polling, is it mostly BS? So I came up in the business through Charlie Cook. Charlie Cook's a political handicapper. He's retired now. But he always believed in internal polling because it wasn't trying to spin. It was just what they had. They'd share it with you as kind of guidance, but it wasn't something they were trying to spin. They were trying to figure out not where the race is today, but where the race is headed. Now, internal polling has now become, like everything else, sort of part of the partisan spin battles in politics and media. So it's kind of like, you know, people are releasing internal polling. That's not really internal polling. It's just like to drive fundraising or whatever. So I'm a little more skeptical of it now. I will say, and I've been working on this list for my Substack. I have a list of pollsters, both nonpartisan independent media affiliated pollsters as well as partisan pollsters that I will put out that I think you should trust their numbers. So if you see an internal poll from them, you should keep an eye on it. But it has become, to answer your question directly, Sam, it's become more BS than it once was. I hope that makes sense. Let's see. Kaylee Niski. Hill Emerson has Trump up by 5 points, likely voters, which seems low. Maybe that's because of the abortion measure. That I assume you're talking about is in Florida. Yeah, look, I don't think he's going to win by 20 in Florida. I think he's going to win by 5-ish, maybe 7. There's a lot of Democrats in Florida, and everyone is going to come out on the Democratic side to vote for that abortion measure. I just don't think you can get to 50. Matthew White. Almost everyone is saying that Trump should focus only on policy. Do you think it's the right approach? After all, didn't his controversial behavior play a significant role in his success in 2016? I would actually say his controversial behavior made it less likely he would win in 2016. He won because people didn't want Hillary Clinton, and they thought he would shake things up on a policy front. I think if he only issued press releases on focusing on the situation at the border, our southern border, and the economy, he'd probably win. But he won't because he's Donald Trump. It's impossible for him to do that. He will make it about personality. And when it's about personality, he very well could lose because, as I said before, people do not like him. They just don't. Ryan Thomas Nisley. Very snappy suit, sir. Well played. It's actually, look, I'll show you. It's actually, I have jeans on and sneakers. It's just a jacket. But thank you. I'll take any and all sartorial compliments. Cat G, can you explain the difference between color blindness and dichromatic eyesight in squirrels? That is a reference to my appearance on the Tony Kornheiser show this morning. And no, I cannot. Bruno the Destroyer, thoughts on Nate Silver's forecast model? I think Nate's really smart. I know his model is more pro-Trump right now than 538, than Decision Desk HQ, and then I think The Economist. You know, what you get out of an election model is what you put in. It's like gas in your car. You put bad gas in, you get bad performance out. I don't know who's putting bad gas in. I think Nate's really, really smart. I think he is willing to buck conventional wisdom, which I think is really valuable. I think he's not afraid of the liberal left, who is a little bit of a horde when they attack you. I've been on the other end of that. So, yeah, I do like him, and I think he's really smart. And if you don't check him out on Substack, you should. He's doing extremely well on Substack. So he probably doesn't need any more support, but you should give it to him anyway. Ryan Thomas Nestle says, you can talk with your mouth full. This is America. Damn right. Damn right. Stars and stripes. Elaine H. Chris, don't change who you are due to some people. Be yourself. Thanks for all you do. Myself is the only person I can be. I always say I try to be as authentic, transparent, as honest as I can. Some people don't like that. I know some people would rather I just say like Donald Trump is a fascist or Kamala Harris is a communist. It's just not me. It's not in me. If I did, it would feel fake. If I did, it would make me more money. Just to go back to the money conversation, all the financial incentives online for content are to say the most terrible things about Donald Trump or Kamala Harris because people want to pay for that. But that's not me. I don't want to make a living like that. Let's see. Justin Ziegler says sentencing of Trump has just been delayed until after the election. Right. It was supposed to be September 16th, I think. I'm not surprised by that. This was never going to be a legal matter. The way that if you want to get rid of Donald Trump, the way that you get rid of Donald Trump is at the ballot box. I do not think he's going to disappear if he loses this election. As I've said, I think he will continue to try to be the head of the party, and he will run again if he can, health-wise, in 2028. But if you want to get him more off the stage, you beat him at the ballot box. You don't beat it by sentencing him to jail. I just don't see it. I'm going to pause again. We're at the 40-minute mark. If you have not smashed that like button, thumbs up, man. Smash it. Do it. If you have not subscribed, subscribe. If you have not told people about this channel, you don't have to do it this second, but tell people about this channel. Because if you want me to keep doing this, I need more people to subscribe. It's as simple as that. YouTube is not complicated. The more people you have as subscribers, the better it does in the algorithm. The more people you have as subscribers, the more money you make, right? Like it's not complicated. Also, if you have not checked out my Substack, which is where I'm doing most of my writing every single day, chriscillizza.substack.com. It's CILLIZZA, or just type in Chris Cillizza and Substack and it will come up. Nico02020, love your content. Please expand off Twitter to Mastodon and Threads. I am on Threads. I am not on Mastodon. I can only do so many things. I said earlier in this, I have signed up for TikTok. So check me out on TikTok, official Chris Cillizza, if you haven't otherwise. A guy that knows a little about it. Amazing, amazing handle. Any opinion on the Russian media influencer scandal and how much deeper do you think it goes? Yeah, I think it goes way deep. I think Russians are behind a lot of this content, information, misinformation, and disinformation. They showed it in the 2016 election. They showed it a little bit in the 2020 election. Yeah, I think we're going to see more of this, and I think there's a bunch we're not going to see that's happening. Sarah H had a lot of good questions in this chat. There are a lot of good questions. I agree. Ed Monroe. If anything, I have more respect for Kamala's side, not indulging RFK desperately trying to make any move he can to try and stay in headlines and get some kind of credibility. Sort of agree with that. Michael Chiavelli, OMG, did you see Trump's press conference today after the E. Jean Carroll case? Described every sexual assault in detail, slandered E. Jean Carroll again, insulted the lawyers behind him. Yes, I did. I did not see it, but I have read it. I think the most offensive thing he said, although, tough pickings, was that E. Jean Carroll wouldn't be the kind of person he would sexually assault. And Sam says, I thought you saw Despicable Me 4. No, my family saw Despicable Me 4. I did not see Despicable Me 4. I have not seen any movies. And Sam, I know you've given me movie recommendations, and I know I have to act on them. Aubrey Harris, I don't think Trump is actually physically, emotionally capable of positive campaigning, even if it would have helped him. I think that's right. Yeah. He knows attack. He doesn't know anything else. And he's a 78-year-old man. He's not going to change, right? I always think that's so hilarious when people are like, well, maybe he's changing. No 78-year-old guy changes. Very few people change a lot anyway, but definitely not when you're 78. Let's see. S. Ruan. Do you think Harris didn't pick Shapiro since the Dems might have worried about losing the governorship to a Republican? Shapiro ran against an extreme right-winger Republican that was stuck in the 50s. No, I don't think that was the reason. I don't know. The reason was probably that she felt like she had more of a vibe with Walz, and she wanted someone who was going to be for Kamala Harris first and for themselves second. and Walz said he wouldn't run for president and he was just going to support her. And I think that was reassuring. Shapiro would not have said that because Shapiro wants to be president. Let's see. Jeffrey Miller says, I'm so nervous. Like in general about the election? Is there something coming up I need to know about? Claus, do you follow European politics? Apart from maybe Bernie Sanders, I've never heard any references to other countries' policies in American political debate. Odd from a European perspective. Yeah. You don't want to know why, Klaus? Because Americans think that we're the only country in the world that matters. And yes, I do follow European politics relatively closely, certainly more in the last 9 months than I did before that. But yes, Americans are very, very focused on themselves and them as the center of the world. And they barely follow American politics. So no, they do not follow European politics. Dave Collier, do you think there'll be another debate after next Tuesday's? Don't know. Probably, because I think it's probably in both of their interests to do it. You know, if one of them is drastically bad, which I would not expect, like Biden was, then no. But I can't imagine that there wouldn't be at least one more. When Trump wins, will he rule more like Darth Sidious or Voldemort? Brian Riley, very funny. Wallace title: why is Trump so low energy? His allies say he is phoning it in. I know that there's all this focus on like Trump's low energy. Trump's losing it. Look, I've covered the guy for 9 years. Sometimes he has higher energy, sometimes he has lower energy, but he's always basically the same guy. Like I said, he's got one setting, which is both good and bad. It's good in that he's never really that low. It's bad in that he can't ever change anything. But yeah, I don't see that. Joe Santilli says, can anyone ask a question? That is a question, and the answer is yes. Cat G, abortion is a strong issue for Democrats, but what can they actually do to protect abortion rights? Well, they can try to enshrine the right to abortion nationally if they control the House, Senate, and the presidency. I don't know if they would, but they can. David Hoffman, if Kamala has a do no harm debate, does she stay ahead or does she need to create a few major replayable moments against Trump? Same question about Trump. Again, Trump's number is going to be 46 to 48 no matter what happens. It's impossible for that number to move. I guess if he had like a Biden-like performance in the debate, it might move, but other than that, it won't. If Kamala has a do no harm debate, look, I think we're headed for a very close election. I really do. I think Kamala Harris is a favorite in the popular vote slightly, but that makes her, if she's a slight favorite in the popular vote, that makes her a slight underdog in the Electoral College for all the reasons we've outlined. So I just think it's going to be close. And while the debate matters, I don't think it's going to fundamentally alter the race unless, of course, we have a situation like Joe Biden did on June 27th, and then it will. But I think that's very unlikely. Let's see. I'm just scrolling through questions. Aubrey Harris, thank you so much for the donation. That is so kind. I'm sorry I missed it. Slippin' Jimmy, thank you for the donation. Sorry I missed it. Trump's unpopularity combined with Kamala being a last-minute selection without a primary, I think this election might have a surprisingly low turnout. Interesting. I hadn't thought about that. I guess it's possible. I think that people are super fired up, though. I think it's going to be a higher turnout. Yoda66, thank you for the donation. Let's see. Steve Longmore, but you are answering other questions, not strictly the paid ones. Yeah. Like I answer the paid ones first, but I'm going to try and answer as many questions as I can. Sarah H, love to see you on News Nation lately. I love doing News Nation. I think I'm going to do it tonight. Chris Cuomo show. So stay tuned, but thank you. Donovan Lord, do you think there is a media bias against Trump and is it justified? After all, no candidate in America has tried to overturn the will of the people. So you get allegations of media bias on both sides of Trump. One is the media wants him to win because he's good for business. And the other side is the media doesn't want him to win because of what happened in his first administration, his attacks on the new fake news and January 6th. You know, I think the media is still trying to figure out how to deal with Donald Trump. I know it's been 9 years, but he is very hard to cover. I've said this before. I'm going to say it now. He's an extremely hard candidate to cover. He lies all the time. He never stops talking. He has taken advantage of the fact that if you have to write a news story about something, you're not going to write every weird thing he said. You're going to pick the 5 things he said that made some sense and write those, and it will make it sound as though he was perfectly fine when in fact it was all over the place. So I don't think they're biased either way. I just think they haven't solved the Donald Trump coverage problem. I hope that makes some sense. I'm not sure I've solved it either. Matt Aarons, thank you for the donation. How big of an impact will endorsements by Republicans like Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, and all those never Trumpers have on the election? So I answered a Liz Cheney question before. I just don't think much. I just don't think there are a lot of people who are undecided voters who are like, oh, wait, Liz Cheney is for Kamala Harris, Adam Kinzinger. No, those people are now heroes on the left. The left is already against Donald Trump. They're already for Kamala Harris. So I don't buy that. I just don't think it matters that much, I guess, is my view. Let's see. Sam says the Dodgers always choke. I guess, but they have so much talent. Joe Daddy says CNN shows a uptick for Harris. I mean, there's different polling out there. I think she's probably ahead in Wisconsin. She's probably ahead in Michigan. I think it's very close in Arizona, pretty close in Nevada. I think Trump's ahead in North Carolina. I think he's marginally ahead in Georgia, or it's close, and then Pennsylvania's it. That's why, again, if I'm ranking the swing states, Pennsylvania, Georgia, everything else. Let's see. Trying to get people who have not asked questions. Karthik Kale. Georgia is a gone case now for Harris. As MAGA will turn out to celebrate the father-son duo. I don't totally know what that means. Paul Jones, what is one big feared policy for each candidate? I'm not totally sure what you mean about that, but here's what I would say. The biggest weakness on a policy front for Kamala Harris is immigration. She's been part of an administration for the last 3.5 years that have not solved the problem, and you could argue made it worse. The biggest policy problem for Donald Trump is abortion. He was the president who appointed 3 conservative Supreme Court justices who then went on to overturn Roe v. Wade. Those are the 2 bad issues for them, and then they fight in the middle over the economy. I hope that answers your question. I'm sorry if it didn't. Brian Riley, will Kamala get fact-checked during the debate? I mean, I think some of this depends on how much active fact-checking ABC News does. Do they sort of stop things and fact-check? In that case, I would assume they do it for Trump and Harris. But again, Trump says more things that aren't true than Harris does. Trump says more things that aren't true than any politician we've ever seen before. So he's going to get the lion's share of fact-checking. I would hope that they would fact-check her too. Michael Gates, hey, Chris, any thoughts on close senatorial races this year? Okay, a couple things. One, go to my Substack and read my Senate rankings. I rank the 10 seats most likely to overturn. I will tell you, I think West Virginia is already gone for Democrats. Joe Manchin held the seat. He's retiring. He's not going to win again. Jim Justice, who's the sitting Republican governor, is going to win. That's a flip. Remember, Democrats have a 1-seat advantage. So now we're to even. I think Montana is going to be really tough for John Tester, the Democrat, to hold on to. Trump is going to win that state by 15 points. The Republican nominee is a guy named Tim Sheehy, just a business guy, never run for anything before, the best candidate against Tester in his 4th race now. So I think those 2 are – West Virginia's gone. Montana's moving in that direction. I think Ohio's going to be really close. I think Arizona, I'd rather be the Democrat than the Republican. In Nevada, I'd rather be the Democrat than the Republican. In Wisconsin, I'd rather be a Democrat than the Republican. I think Michigan is close. So I just, again, it goes back to this Rick Scott question. I just don't think there are a lot of offensive opportunities for Democrats. Florida and Texas are the only 2, and I don't think either of them are anywhere close to as vulnerable as West Virginia, Montana, or Ohio. I hope that makes sense. Ben Padavina, Judge Merchan just postponed Trump's sentencing until November 26th. Do you anticipate this will impact the election among undecideds? No. I was not surprised that this happened. They did not want to do the sentencing pre-election, and they're not going to. Let's see. Oh, yeah. In the general, VPs may not be so important. In this case, Trump is old. JD is very out there. See what he says about the facts of life. Comment. I don't know. I don't know. I'm skeptical. Christian McCaffrey, not that Christian McCaffrey. Hi, Chris. It's Chris. I see you're stuck in what looks like an auditor's office. Thank you for hosting the Friday live stream. This is one of the huddle rooms on the Georgetown campus. It is relatively nondescript. I will grant that. But the reason I'm here is I'm teaching my class at Georgetown later today on campaign journalism. So that's why I'm here. But great point. And Slippin' Jimmy says regular coconut diet. This is Coke Zero, bro. 0 sugar. That's how I roll. Let's see. Kardik Kyle, any chance of this becoming a blowout election for either side? No, I just cannot see it. Let's see. Sweeko Barvington III. I was in that room once with 2 detectives. I know it is okay. It's not a great room, but at least the internet works and I'm able to do this, right? You're coming from me, not the room. Let's see. I'm trying to think of things that I have not answered before. Shane Lindell, Trump underpolls, Chris. He has been gaining support since 2015. He does not change, and people appreciate that. Yes, I talked about that. I said that in 2016, Trump did better than national polls suggest he would. In 2020, he did better than national polls suggested he would. Maybe you weren't here for that. Let's see. Tell us, Frank. Ruben Boomche says, what's up? That's a deep Georgetown cut that is very, very appreciated by me. Tell us, Frank, you at the proctologist. No, I am not. KR, I've heard Emmanuel Macron married his high school English teacher. He did. His parents tried to move him away from her. Like they moved schools and but they still got married. CH says, hi, Blue Glass Man. Thank you. Billy D in the Hudo says, smash the like button. Yes, smash the like button. Fran G, what do you think about Brian Stelter going back to CNN? I'm thrilled for him. And I'm thrilled for CNN. I wrote about this on my Substack, and I would love if you read it. So, look, Brian is a really talented guy. Chris Licht, who was the president of CNN when they got rid of him, is gone. Whatever. He also got rid of me. I really like Brian. I think he's a great media reporter. I think he'll do a great job. What I wrote about on my Substack was it's a really good reminder that when you get laid off or even fired sometimes, it's not really about you. It's about these big corporations, particularly in the media, realizing that their business model is broken and they need to get rid of some money, and you make some and they can get rid of you. It's not you. You didn't do something wrong. And I think that's the tendency when you get laid off, is to blame yourself and say I did something let me go back and figure out what I did wrong. I did that. I spent a lot of time with that. And let me tell you, it's useless. Doesn't do you any good. Doesn't get you anywhere. So I wrote about Brian and how it's a reminder that 2 years ago, CNN didn't want him. Now they do. Brian hasn't changed. Maybe a little bit, but fundamentally he's the same guy. And, things change. People change. So let's see. But good questions. Let me see if I can get any more. Sam says, I really enjoyed Brian's book about Fox News and the Dominion lawsuit. Yeah, that was really good. He's a really talented guy. Hort and Pot. Hi, Chris. What's your top or favorite political podcast? I will admit I don't listen to a ton of political podcasts. My favorite podcast, Tony Kornheiser's show, not just because I'm on it. The Rest is History. Amazing. I'm listening to this really great Noiser podcast. It's 40 episodes long, but it's on the birth, rise, and fall of Hitler. Totally fascinating and interesting. Stephen Williams, thank you for your donation. I appreciate you. You have a happy Friday as well. All right, how many minutes do I have left? Okay, I'm going to do 3.5 more minutes. Noah Hayslip, what are the odds that Trump has an all-out old moment like Biden did? Very unlikely. I know Trump is 78. I know he has a terrible diet. I know he doesn't exercise, but he doesn't trend old. When you see him, you're not oh, that's an old doddering man. You're oh, that guy, he just doesn't strike me as, if you told me Donald Trump was 70, I'd be okay, that makes sense. If you told me he was 88, I'd be no. He trends younger. I just don't think he's going to do that. I think he has his patter set in his head. He says basically the same things all the time. I think he will continue to do that in this debate. So I think it's unlikely. Let's see. Pacificatorius. Sorry, I don't know if I'm saying that right. It reminds me of Crucifixtorius, the fictional band in Friday Night Lights. Were you pretty close with Dana Bash at CNN? I mean, we were friends. I didn't go to hang out a ton with her, but yes, she's a wonderful person and a wonderful reporter and a good human. Let's see. Yoda66. Why does Trump get so much credit for the economy? He took over a growing economy and his tax cut didn't do anything close to what he predicted. Because presidents get credit when the economy goes well, and too much credit when it goes well, and too much blame when it goes bad. It's been happening since the beginning of time. It doesn't make it right, but it is a fact. So yeah, that's it. I'm trying to go lightning round, so I'm trying to do all these. Matt Aaron says Trump seems more crazy these days. Disagree. I think he seems about the same. Hold on. I have Park Mobile notifications. Okay. Brian Riley, who is more disliked, Donald Trump or the principal in Ferris Bueller's Day Off? The principal in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That guy was the worst, Ed. Dan Meyer says, Lacheserie to you, my friend. Sorry, I'm up against it. I want to see if I'm missing anybody. Nils Lindebad, go look at Sarah Longwell's website, Republicans Against Trump. This could be a big deal in those swing states. Maybe. I don't know. Matt Aaron says Trump's plan is PA, Georgia, and North Carolina. That gets him to 270. It does. Yep. I mean, again, Pennsylvania is the whole ball game, most of the ball game. Georgia's a little bit of the ball game, and then everything else, goes along. All right. XPFC Wintergreen V2O. Chris, what are your sushi preferences? I don't like sushi. I'm not a fish guy. I know. My wife always yells at me. So sorry. Let's see. Juan Vasquez, if Trump loses this, the MAGA movement dissolved. No, absolutely not. Trump will not admit he lost. He will stay as the leader of the party. No, absolutely not. Andy Smith, good work on the TK show today. Thank you. Thank you so much. Marcus, does Biden's legacy depend on if Kamala wins or loses? A little bit, yeah. His legacy obviously would be emboldened if his vice president won, and would be hurt a little if Donald Trump, the guy he ran to beat, won. No question. All right. That's it for me. Wish me luck teaching. If you've not liked this, like it. Smash it. Smash the like button. If you have not subscribed to my channel, do it, man or lady. If you have not told people about my channel, I really hope you do it, because I'm putting my heart into this. I hope you can tell. So if you donated today, thank you for the donation. I hope people understand that I'm trying to make a living on this. I'm not trying to be a money grubber, but I am trying to make a living. And so if you can support me, thank you for supporting me, whether it's here, whether it's if I do a paid subscription here, whether it's the Substack or a paid subscription at the Substack. So thank you all. I will be back next Friday as always. And I will have videos for you Monday through Thursday. Everybody take care. Have a wonderful weekend. Be safe. Be well. Peace.